What's going on, everybody? We're gonna talk about Cowboys Steelers, some injury news, not good injury news at all whatsoever, and the state of the Cowboys. What is going on in Dallas? Let's talk about it next, right here on Cowboy Spit.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait, take
Cowboys Spit.
Throws back of the end zone. There's CeeDee Lamb.
What's going on, everybody? Cowboy C3. Today got some interesting injury news, and we'll talk about that in a little minute. In a minute, it you've got all these things just going around with the Cowboys. I listened to Jerry Jones's interview, and I listened to Mike McCarthy's interview yesterday, and you know they talk about, and this is after a mediocre win against the Giants. It wasn't good, and there were some opportunities for the Giants to win the football game, and they just didn't capitalize on them, particularly because Daniel Jones is not Danny Dimes at all. He's pretty Danny terrible. They had opportunities to kind of steal that ball game away from the Cowboys, and they just couldn't do it, right? So Cowboys snuck up on a win with them. Didn't look very good doing it, offensively or defensively. And Jerry talks about how, you've got these dire needs at these positions. Defensive tackle is still kind of a concern, but I must admit, I'll be the first one to admit, Mozzie Smith played his ass off Thursday night. I mean, he played excellent. If he could do that every game, I mean, he could be, considered to be one of the best, at least in the NFC East. I mean, he was pretty dominant Thursday night. Made some tackles behind the line of scrimmage, constant penetration all game. I mean, he looked fantastic. And Osia Odigizua, if he's going to do that, then I don't think, your issues in the middle aren't that terrible. Your linebackers played well again. Overshown played his ass off like he always does. He played extremely well. Secondary looked a little suspect, especially with Andrew Booth Jr. playing at the corner. Looks like Kalen Carson might come back. We'll talk about that in a second too. But offensively, it's a train wreck. It is. It's a train wreck. You're starting to hear this talk about Davante Adams, right? Davante Adams to the Cowboys. He wants out of Vegas. And rightfully so. I don't blame him. He went there to play with Derek Carr. He plays there a year with Derek Carr. They trade him away. You bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. Now it's just quarterback by committee. Like whoever feels like playing quarterback that day is going to play it. Gardner Minshew, I guess, is the starter right now. And Devontae's a little upset, and I would be upset too, especially if I come to an organization knowing that I'm going to play with my college quarterback. I left an excellent quarterback situation in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, but I knew that situation was kind of shaky. So I probably just shook the spot. And I was like, if I can't play with Aaron going to get traded away, don't know where he's going, then I'll go over and play with my college quarterback, right? So Aaron gets traded earlier than Devontae does, and then Devontae goes over and plays with Derek Carr for a year. Carr had kind of an injury-prone year or injury-riddled year, right? So they trade him to New Orleans, and New Orleans is doing just fine right now. They lost the game the other day, but, we're going to win some, we're going to lose some. But that offense is clicking. Everything is looking good there, and the Raiders' offense is just terrible. It's bad. That's just what it is. So he wants out. So you start to really sit down and really think about it. Like, what does Davante Adams do for the Cowboys? Now, Davante Adams used to be a top 5 wide receiver. He was probably the best wide receiver. He was probably top 2 wide receivers in the NFL for 3 or 4 years. He's not that guy anymore. But then you start to question if he's really that guy or not. He's not that guy anymore or not. Like, is that true? Inconsistent quarterback play, probably your lack of desire to be there, right? You look at game film and it looks like he slowed down a step, but it also could be lack of effort, right? Because you really just don't want to be there. You really don't know what you're getting. Raiders said a second round draft pick will get you. That's all you need. You can get him, right? What would that do for the Cowboys? They're already passing the ball 70% of the time, and you're passing the ball literally to one wide receiver. And we'll talk about the second wide receiver in a minute, too. You've got one solid wide receiver right now. The addition to Davante Adams makes your wide receiving core, your tandem of wide receivers, top 3 in the NFL. It does. These elite receivers, your Tyreek Hills, your CD Lambs, your Justin Jeffersons, your Jamar Chases, guys like that. That's not Davante Adams anymore. He's not that anymore. But once you get past that upper echelon of wide receivers, then you start to talk about Davante Adams. So he's clearly 10 times better than what you got on the other side of CD Lamb. He just is. Davante Adams, it doesn't matter how bad your route combos are or anything, right? Like he will find a way to get open, and he's got great hands. He's gonna catch the ball, and he's dangerous after the catch. And you cannot double cover CD Lamb anymore. You can't. So that opens that up completely. But I wouldn't do it. No, I wouldn't do it. $13.5 million, you got $24.6 million in salary cap space. So you definitely can't afford him, right? But before you do anything on this football team, you need to get a running back, because the one thing that your Achilles heel this season, and they played one good game. I'm not just saying like, yeah, Cowboys defense is back. It has been the defense, particularly against the run, right? It will get better. Hopefully, if Mozzie Smith continues to play the way that he's playing, it will get better. It'll definitely get better. He just needs to keep improving, build some confidence. That's one thing Mike McCarthy said in his interview, and Jerry Jones said in his interview as well, is that Mozzie Smith just needs confidence. He was lacking in confidence. He's starting to be more confident in the scheme. He's starting to be more confident out there playing, a lot more. Maybe they hurt his confidence last year with him not playing a lot. But, I mean, he didn't play well enough to play a lot. You know what I'm saying? So he's playing better. And he's going to get an opportunity now, especially to get some burn, to get quality burn all the time, just because their lack of defensive tackles, right? So this is your golden opportunity. And last Thursday, you played well. You did very well. And I hope that continues. I really do. You need to figure out a way to run the ball. You have to. And I'm gonna give you some numbers real quick, and it's pretty disturbing, right? But it just shows you how bad that this running back by committee thing is working for the Cowboys, and how we've been bamboozled by Jerry Jones, and how Jerry Jones has kind of used Mike McCarthy as a little puppet to kind of bamboozle all the Cowboy fans into thinking that we were going to be fine. But if you just looked at the situation itself, and if you have just a little bit of football knowledge, right? It doesn't take, you don't have to be a football expert or a damn referee or have played for 55 years before and just know the game, right? If you just have a little bit of football knowledge and you looked at the running back room for the Cowboys, you knew it was going to be trash. You knew it was going to be trash. You didn't address it in the draft. You didn't address it in free agency. And I'm about to read this stat, and I'm going to show you how you let one go in free agency, right? That only signed for $8 million a year. And it ended up being probably the worst move that the Cowboys did in the offseason. Now, everybody was under the impression of, if we let Tony Pollard go, we're going to sign a running back, at least another running back in free agency, or if we don't sign one in free agency, because we are notoriously terrible in free agency, right? Then we'll sign one and we'll sign one in the draft. We'll draft one, right? None of that shit happened. None of it did. So this year, Rico Dowdle, 34 carries, 131 yards, no touchdowns. Zeke, 24 carries, 81 yards, 1 touchdown. Rico's averaging 3.9 yards per carry. Zeke's averaging 3.4 yards per carry. Your third leading rusher on this team is CD Lamb at 6 carries for 33 yards. He saves your average because he's averaging 5.5 yards per carry. He's the one that saves your yards per carry average. Deuce Vaughn bringing up the rear, 7 carries for 20 yards. Now, we were bamboozled about Deuce Vaughn too. Oh, he's going to be involved in the passing game. Oh, he's going to do this. Oh, he's going to be that. Oh, he's going to be in third down packages. We're going to design plays. We're going to draw up plays for Deuce Vaughn. Deuce Vaughn this, Deuce Vaughn that. Deuce Vaughn's been running 22 dive the whole season. He finally caught a pass against the Giants on their last scoring drive, and it was explosive and it looked good. He was lining up at damn slot receiver in training camp. You haven't seen any of that yet. Nothing. You haven't seen it yet, and your offense is struggling. You need a spark, and you have yet to do it. Nothing. We talked about a couple episodes ago, maybe even it wasn't last episode. That was before. We talked about before the Giants game, how you could just blow the top off of defense with Kevontae Turpin, just line him in the slot and just sending him on a fly route. You don't do that. Kevontae Turpin catches everything within a 5-yard radius of the quarterback. And I'm beginning to realize why that is. They just don't trust the offensive line is going to hold up long enough to do that. Well, the easiest way to get some, not even confidence, but to give your quarterback some time to maneuver in the pocket is play action passes. But if your run game is just trash, what good is play action going to do? I can still send my ends hard at your quarterback, right? Or I can blitz a linebacker and it'll pick up the run, your sorry run game, and it'll pick up the quarterback if he play actions and goes back 7-step drop. I can do both just playing base defense. I don't have to plan for your run game. Your run game is trash. Tony Pollard this year. So the Cowboys, 71 rushes, 265 yards, and 1 touchdown this season. That's 3.9 yards per carry. And like I said, CeeDee Lamb saves most of that, right? He saves it. Tony Pollard, 61 carries this year, 246 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's averaging 4.1 yards per carry. That was your running back last year. Watched him Sunday. I mean, on Monday night. I purposely did not watch the Lions, and I don't even remember whoever they played. I didn't even watch them, right? I wanted to see the Titans, and I wanted to see the Titans versus the Dolphins because I wanted to see the Dolphins situation, and it'll make sense in a minute. I want to see the Dolphins situation, what they're doing, and I wanted to see the Titans because I wanted to see Tony Pollard, what he was going to do. Explosive, steal, runs hard. Not a particularly big guy, but he runs hard, right? Pro Football Focus said that the Cowboy running back should be averaging 5.1 yards per carry with the way it's being blocked up in the run game. Run game is simple. You hit the man in front of you. They don't do no bunch of twisting and turning and pulling. They don't do that, right? Man on man, pick up your man block. Man that comes through, Hunter Lemke will pick that up, and the running back pick a hole and hit it, right? That's how they play the running game. There are creases there to hit. It's just Cowboy running backs don't hit them. Rico Dowdell is the closest one that does that. And he's not terrible. He would be a solid number 2 running back on any football team. Zeke ain't going to do it. Deuce Vaughn, you have to create space for Deuce Vaughn. You have to. Right up the middle ain't it. It's just not it. You have to give him something else. He's got to go off tackle. He's got to run some toss sweeps. He's got to catch some swing passes out of the backfield. He's just not built for running the ball up the middle every play. This is not Kansas State. This is the NFL. He's not ready for that. You let Tony Pollard go. You let him go, and you didn't pick up anything in return. So no, there's no way I'm signing Davante Adams when I have this glaring hole in the back, because the easiest way to keep your defense off the field is a solid run game. If I'm just going to be high flying and scoring every 4 plays, right, then we just going to get in shootouts. And what they're going to do to keep your offense off the field, they're going to run the ball on you because it's easy to run the ball on the Cowboys. It's simple. And what does that do? That puts pressure on the offense to score points. Dak starts forcing passes, starts throwing picks, and then we down 28-0, and here we go with the same old bullshit again. No, we don't need Davante Adams. We need a damn running back. That's what we need. And I wanted to watch the Dolphins because I wanted to see their running back core. You ain't getting A-Chain. It's not happening. But Jalen Wright, the third running back, why not? Tua Tagovailoa is on his last leg. He's on borrowed time. He is. Too many head injuries. He should retire. He's on the sideline looking mad and because Tyler Huntley came in. He don't really know the offense yet. They were just running anything that they could run on Thursday night, right? Excuse me, on Monday night. They were just running whatever they could to try to get some points. He was missing deep passes short, missing deep passes long. They have a quarterback issue. Your head coach drafted Trey Lance. He drafted him. He believed in Trey Lance enough to make him the 3rd overall pick, right? They supported that. That coaching staff, that 49ers coaching staff supported that draft pick. Trade him. Give up a 3rd round pick because that's where you were going to get Jalen Wright anyway, or 4th round pick. That's where you were going to get Jalen Wright anyway. The trade that you made to the 49ers for Trey Lance. Give them the 4th round pick next year. Give them Trey Lance because they're going to need some quarterback help because Tua is one hit away from not playing football ever again and having to worry about his head for the rest of his life, right? Give him Trey Lance. Take Jalen Wright. He gives you a young, able running back. We keep hearing this Dalvin Cook thing. Dalvin Cook. I'm starting to wonder if Dalvin Cook even in practice. I ain't seen no pictures of him. I ain't seen nothing, right? Every time they ask about Dalvin Cook to Jerry or Mike McCarthy, I don't know about that. We don't know. I doubt you're going to see him this week, maybe next week. We a month into the season. If he don't know the playbook by now, man, I don't know what to tell you. You could tell him in the huddle, run right, run left. I'm going to hand you the ball. You block that dude over there. You could tell him things like that. There's ways to get running backs into the game. You might as well, with this that's going on right here, you might as well give him a shot. You might as well. What'd you sign Zeke for if you're not going to use him in short yardage? We've run 2 2-point conversions this season. Zeke has not carried the ball once. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. All these times that we got these short yardage situations, you either get about Hunter Lemke or Rico Dowdle. You don't even use Zeke. So what's he here for? Loyalty? I don't understand it. Like, I don't get it. This is the Cowboys in a nutshell. Today at practice, they're going through practice. They're about an hour into practice. They're going through team drills, everything. Jerry lands his fucking helicopter on the field. Excuse my language. Interrupts practice and lands his helicopter on the field. Gotta be the center of attention. Gotta do it. It's crazy how all of this happens. It's crazy. Every single year. Davante Adams is a Jerry Jones pickup. That is a Jerry pickup. It's got to be big and extravagant. Jalen Wright wouldn't be a Jerry Jones pickup, but it'd make your football team better, though. It would. I'm going to say it till I can't say it no more. The one thing in common with a 30-year drought is Jerry Jones. I got into this Facebook conversation with this dude the other day that was telling me how bad Dak chokes in the playoffs. My answer was the whole team choke in the playoffs. You don't even have to look at the playoffs. All you got to look is big games. Take San Francisco last year. That was a big game. They got you in the playoffs. Tony Pollard got hurt. You know what I'm saying? They got you, right? You need to play them. You need to play them hard, right? You need to get them right now. What do? What score like? They gave up a 50 burger, right? Team just looked lost from the very beginning. They're unprepared. They're consistently unprepared. These teams play chess and the Cowboys play checkers. I will say it to the end of time. It is what it is, man. That's what we have to deal with. And if you want to get a chess player in here, I've said this before and I'll say it again too. And I'll say it all the time. And I'm telling this dude on social media, right? And he's this is too deep. Dak just sucks. And I'm like, bro, you don't even know what you're talking about, dog. The Cowboys run 4 routes. They do. They run a slant, a out, a post, and a fly. And sometimes they run a tight end corner. And every time they run one, it surprised the shit out of everybody, and the tight end is wide open. That's what they do. Ran a corner route in that same San Francisco game I'm talking about. Blew the roof off of it with a Cavante Turpin. Dak makes a good pass for a touchdown. First game of the season, Brandon Cooks runs a corner route to beat a blitz. Dak lays the ball up, touchdown. You don't see that shit no more. It baffles me. You got plays that work. This is a copycat league. All you got to do is go look at these other offenses, throw some plays in there, man, and work on them in practice and run them in the game. Everybody else do it. Why can't we do it? It's a wasted down run on first down for 1.5 yards. It's a short pass on second down that'll get us to 3rd and 7. Dak could try to squeeze the ball. Dak could try to squeeze the ball to CeeDee Lamb on 3rd down in a window that's about this big because they don't get no separation because everybody know what the hell they're about to do. Right? That's your 3rd down. And then your punter comes on. Or if you inside the 50, Brandon Aubrey will kick a 68-yard field goal to give you 3 points. What kind of shit is this? I just don't understand it. Man down, you right, man. Shout out to my boy Melvin, Man Down Sports, man. That's my guy. You catch me there on Fridays too, man. Y'all, if y'all haven't liked and subscribed to that one, boy, y'all need to do it because that thing is off the chain. Melvin is a clown. Sounds like a flag football off. It don't even sound. It's not even flag football because flag football you score a lot of points. They ain't scoring no points. Receivers can't get no separation because the route combos are trash. They trash. Dak is literally completing passes to CeeDee Lamb, right? And then if you couldn't get any worse, if the situation couldn't get any worse, and you thinking like, okay, this is like the bottom of the barrel. Cowboys might win 4 or 5 games this year. That might be it, right? Shit gets worse. It does. It gets worse. DeMarcus Lawrence on injury reserve with a Lance-Frank injury. So the Lance-Frank injury is the joints at the top of the toe. So you got the bottom of the toe, you got the middle joint of the toe, and at the top, he's got a sprain right there. Put him on injury reserve. So he's out for at least 4 weeks. That's on his right foot. He's had this problem before. He avoided surgery. He got a second opinion this time, avoided surgery again. They're just going to rehab it for at least a month, right? He may be back in time for San Francisco, but I doubt it. San Francisco's a month away. I doubt he'll be back. He probably got more like 8 weeks. Micah Parsons, questionable with a left high ankle sprain. Micah Parsons was riding around today in training camp. Him and DeMarcus Lawrence both riding around, not in training camp, at the practice facility. They both got on walking boots and the little scooters. They racing through the hallway. Micah Parsons is listed as questionable. He won't be back to maybe San Francisco. High ankle sprain, I've had one before. That shit hurts. And as soon as it starts to feel better, you go out there and you tweak it just a little bit and you right back to square one. The only way that you can fix it is rest. That's it. No amount of tape, no amount of braces, no amount of nothing can fix it. It can't fix it. It has to rest. It has to heal. It has to get treatment. Now, they're getting the best treatment in the world. He may be back in time for Detroit, but if he hurts it against Detroit, then you miss him for another 6 weeks. Not even trying to hear it. Let him sit out this game. Let him sit out against Detroit. Have the bye week. Come back against San Francisco. We're going to need him against San Francisco anyway. So what does that do? That makes your starting defensive end, Carl Lawson, coming from the practice squad up to the starting defensive end. Hey, next man up, you got to go. They signed KJ Henry. KJ Henry from the Bengals practice squad. KJ Henry was like a 4th or 5th round draft pick a couple years ago from Clemson. He was an animal at Clemson. That dude is a great athlete. Not that great against the run, but he can get after the quarterback. That he can do. He's just a high motor, athletic guy. He was in Washington. Washington, who drafted him. Washington had a whole coaching regime. They probably just didn't like the way he fit. Bengals picked him up, work him out on the practice squad. Cowboys pick him up. He'll probably be on the active roster. Not this week, but probably next week against Detroit. He got some learning to do. He's got to do first, right? So you're gonna be without your starting you're gonna be without your starting defensive ends, both of them, which is crazy on an already volatile defense. Now you lose your 2-star players on your defensive line. And if it couldn't get any worse than that, right? Report comes out today that Brandon Cook has an infection in his right knee after a procedure that he had after the Giants game. Then he got another procedure done to clear up the infection. He's definitely out Sunday, and he could miss more time than that. That's what Mike McCarthy said. That sounds like staph infection to me. Just a speculation. Don't have any solid concrete evidence that's what it is. But if you're going in, then you going in to dig out infection, another procedure, that sounds like staph infection. If that's a staph infection, he's going to be out 4 weeks at a minimum. That's if the staph doesn't spread. Because you just got to treat it until it goes away. Like, staph infections are nasty, and they can spread around the whole locker room because they're highly contagious. So he can't even be at the facility. He can't, even at home, like he uses a towel, he got to use that towel, and you almost got to throw it away because it's got the infection on it. And if you get it on somebody else's skin, then they have it. That's how contagious it is. That's just what it sounds like to me. I hope it's not that serious. I really do. But he won't be playing this Sunday, which gives an opportunity for Ryan Flowerday to come and play. I've been kind of waiting on him to play anyway. Big, strong, physical dude, man. Something that the Cowboys don't have. Could be an excellent possession receiver, but he's got a little speed to him. He missed the first 3 weeks of training camp. I can't remember what was wrong with him. I think he had a hamstring issue. He came back in that last, so he played in the preseason game against the Raiders, and then that last preseason game, I can't remember who he played, but in both games, he caught a touchdown. Right? He hasn't even been activated yet. Jalen Brooks has been activated the whole time, and he's been decent. He played pretty decent in the Giants game. Remember, he slipped, and he's the one that slipped and fell, and where Dak threw the interception against New Orleans. I'm hoping that Flowerday gets a shot. I'm hoping because I think that he could be another target for Dak to have confidence in. Because right now, Dak has confidence in CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson. That's it. That's all he has confidence in. And you're about to play a team that's not that great on offense, but they are excellent on defense, particularly on their defensive line and particularly again at the defensive ends against your weak part of your offensive line. Tyler Guyton will be all right. He's going through a learning curve. He's a rookie, right? He's a rookie. Probably wasn't supposed to be. He played right tackle in college, moved into left tackle when he became a pro. Wasn't really scheduled to be the left tackle, but because of injuries, he is your starting left tackle, and he's played well enough to keep that job. He just has to learn. Well, he's going to get a big learning opportunity this week, and let's talk about it. We'll talk about the offense first. Justin Fields, 77 completions, 109 attempts, 830 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He's throwing like it's 70%. Justin Fields is playing fine. I'm starting to question whether Russell Wilson is injured or not. He's got this calf injury where he was a game time decision in week 1 all the way where he hasn't even played yet. But the funny part about the whole thing is that he suited up on the sideline every week. Which sounds like to me that Russell Wilson lost his job, and this is just Mike Tomlin's way of kind of avoiding a media frenzy. Like, you lost your job to Justin Fields, maybe you should hang it up, right? He's there. He's on the sideline. He's suited up. He's just not playing because Justin Fields is playing because Justin Fields ain't doing terrible, right? Justin Fields is not a terrible quarterback. He wasn't a terrible quarterback in Chicago. This is a much better situation. Najee Harris is your leading rusher, 68 carries for 268 yards, has no touchdowns. Justin Fields at 38 carries for 145 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Cordero Patterson is your third leading rusher, 16 rushes for 92 yards. Cordero Patterson looked good against the Colts. He did. The Steelers had given up a total of 24 points before that Colts matchup. Anthony Richardson got hurt. The old wily veteran Joe Flacco came in there and started completing some timely passes, and they won. Justin Fields had an opportunity at the end of the game. They had the ball like on the 40-yard line. It was an errant snap, right? And they lost the ball and turned over possession right there at the end of the game. And that's how the game ended, 27-24, Colts. Their errant snap really from being 4-0. This is a solid football team. They play old school football. That's what they do. They play old school smash mouth football. They got a big 225-pound running back. They got a 6'5", 220-pound quarterback that's running around on read options and things like that, or broken plays. They don't really run a lot of read options. They run some play action stuff. They run quarterback sweeps, like old school quarterback sweeps, and he'll drop back the pass, and if he see his first two reads, he's gone. That's what they do. He's gone, right? Defensively, though, they got Cam Hayward and TJ Watt at your defensive ends. They are going to put some crazy pressure on your tackles. Terrence Steele didn't play bad against the Giants. He didn't. And he really, I think he had Brian Banks like 60% of the snaps, something like that. And Kayvon Thibodeau was over on Tyler Guyton, and Guyton had some good moments against him, but he had some bad moments against him last against him as well. Well, you got Cam Hayward on one side and you got TJ Watt on the other side this week. You get no breaks. It don't matter who lined up on you. They about to put some heat on your quarterback, right? That's what they're going to do. And they're going to attack your tackles. That's what they're going to do. Their weak point was always their linebacking core. It was decent. It's always been decent. Like those guys go out there, they play good football. They never really had a difference maker at linebacker, particularly because they didn't need him because they got to the quarterback so fast. So what do? They go get Patrick Queen from Baltimore in free agency. That dude is everywhere. Everywhere. We talk about Overshown, and Lou Fowl being everywhere on plays. You know what I mean? They young players, young. But this dude is everywhere. He shows up with a purpose. Every single play. He's in the run game. He's on pass defense. Patrick Queen is everywhere. TJ Watt is the best player on their defense. Patrick Queen is a close second. And then in the secondary at free safety, you got Minkah Fitzpatrick. You got some young corners, right? You got Deontay Jackson and Joey Porter Jr. Joey Porter Jr. is going to be an excellent corner in the NFL, but another rookie. He's going through some growing pains, right? But you got Minkah Fitzpatrick back there that's like, I got you 6, buddy. You worry about what's happening right here. I ain't going to let nothing over the top. We good. And before they gave up 27 points to the Colts last week, because Joe Flacco snuck some touchdowns in on them, right? He only threw for 168 yards, but he threw 2 touchdowns, right? They'd only given up 24 points all season through 3 weeks. They got a good, solid defense. Cowboys got a shaky defense. They stopped the run last game. Don't know if that's a consistent. I hope it is. I'm hoping that it is. I'm hoping Mozzie Smith continues to play the way that he's playing. The Steelers defense is much better, much better scheme, better players. They have an excellent defense. Their offense is a little shaky like ours, but they can run the football, and the Cowboys can't stop the run. They stopped it 1 week, actually 2 weeks, but they have trouble stopping the run. It makes for an interesting matchup. You don't have your guaranteed pass rush, even if you start putting them in passing downs. You don't have that guaranteed pass rush anymore. And I don't know if you guys remember from the preseason, the pass rush was nothing. There was no pass rush in the preseason. These are the same guys that are coming in to be starters now, right? So your pass rush is going to be nullified. You're going to have to create a pass rush some kind of way. So you're going to start blitzing linebackers to create a pass rush, which means you're going to leave holes in your defense. And you're missing arguably your best corner in Deron Bland. He should be back. Hopefully, they keep saying Detroit, but I would even say San Francisco. You probably need him against Detroit, but you probably won't need him. You probably won't get him, right? That'll be a San Francisco thing. So for these next 2 weeks, your defense is Not even slightly depleted. It's depleted. So your offense is going to have to sustain some things, right, in order to keep that defense off the field. It might be a long couple of weeks, man. Just to be honest with y'all. You got a stingy defense coming in. Stingy. You're not even coming in and going out there. So Sunday night, I think it's the Sunday night game, 7:00, NBC, Cowboys versus Steelers. So what are we going to do? On Saturday, we'll go over keys to the game. We'll go over this injury report just to see if anything changes. But I can almost guarantee that the only thing that's on this injury report that may change is Kalen Carson may go from questionable to probable. That's about it. DeMarcus Lawrence, Michael Parsons, Brandon Cooks, they're out. They're out. Somebody's going to have to step up and play the other wide receiver. Jalen Tolbert has played decent. He ain't done that. He hasn't been what he was drafted to be. Hoping Ryan Florian gets an opportunity to come up and start stealing some of these snaps because I really think that he can. I'm almost positive that he can. Maybe we see Dalvin Cook. Maybe we don't. I don't think that the Cowboy organization, especially the front office, is smart enough to make a Jalen Wright trade. So you got to go what you got. I still love him though. I mean, that's my squad. I ride him. I ride with him till the wheels fall off. But some of this stuff, man, you question it. You wonder what the decision making is like when you go behind closed doors and you sit there and you look at your football team and you talk about it. You wonder, like, there's some football conversations that have to be made in that front office, and I just don't think that is happening. And the proof is in the pudding. There's 30 years of evidence to support everything that I've said. Everything. So Saturday, we'll do a pregame show. We'll talk about keys to victory. We'll talk about, just what the Cowboys need to do to win, right? And we'll talk about this injury report or lack of changes in the injury report. And then we'll Sunday, don't care. After the game, we're going live right after the game, and we'll discuss the game on Sunday. Hoping for a Cowboy victory, but it's going to be a long road. I'm telling you, this next month and a half is tough. Tough. You got some really, really, really good football teams that you're about to play. You got Pittsburgh. You got the Lions. You got San Francisco. After San Francisco, you play Atlanta, and then you got Washington. And man, I tell you what, Washington is a problem. The way that your season is going right now, you're looking at probably finishing third in the division if something don't change, because Washington looks like they can win this division, and they can win it pretty handedly because the Eagles are struggling too. Washington ain't though. This Jaden Daniels is a son of a gun. I'll tell you that. He's tough. And they got the right system over there, man, where they're not trying to do too much. They're running the ball, giving them some easy completions, start stretching it out downfield, and then start running the ball again. That's how they play. It's a proven method, and it works. And they play pretty good defense, too. But we ain't got to see them for a while. But in between now and that Washington game, man, it's tough. That's a tough road. You need some wins, and right now it ain't looking so good. Anyway, Saturday, we'll talk about keys to the game. Sunday, we'll do a post game. And yeah, go Cowboys. We all in, baby. All right. That's it for me tonight. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Hey, don't forget, like it, subscribe to it, everything. I appreciate the support that I've been getting. I get people coming up to me at work, talking to me about this. I talk to people in the store about it. Got people, subscribing and listening to the show. I appreciate all the love and support. Thank you guys tremendously from the bottom of my heart. All right, Cowboy C3. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Peace.